Good morning,
everyone. It's your girl, Janette Smith.
Certified life strategist and mindset coach.
And we are back for another day of the 21-day Release Action Journal Devotional.
We've been having a great time in the morning. I'm telling you, it has been so fun
to see you all, to be with you all. I see you all already in the comments saying your good morning.
So yes,
Michael, that's what we're talking about today. Get into the root of the matter.
Tamara,
always good to see you watching on YouTube. And I see West Coast in the house.
Get on up
early,
y'all.
Come on in.
And because I see you all from Periscope to YouTube to Facebook, thank you so much, you all, for being.
Sister Doris, I see you.
Come on,
Miss Doris.
Good to see
you in the house. I have to say hello to everybody across all the platforms. MySpace. Girl, I almost said MySpace. Did y'all hear me? If y'all are watching on MySpace, though, thank you so much. I maybe, I don't know, maybe that was some like divine wisdom kicking in. I said MySpace. Hello, Neil. Good to see you back in the house, brother. Hello, Pastor Stephanie. Good to see you. Here's how you support content creators. You share it, you like it, you engage. You share it, you like it, and you engage. If you're getting something out of it that's valuable to you, share it, like it, engage. That's all we ask. And we have a great community of sharers. So you have already seen the topic for today, which, man, in my devotional time this morning, kind of took on a whole nother thing. So we'll see where we go in the discussion. It's the root of the matter, getting to the root of the matter. For us, this is the scripture that Release Devotional stands on. And the scripture in Psalm 46:10 says, "Be still and know that I'm God." And the phrase "be still" is often taken to mean, be quiet. But it actually means in the Hebrew, let go. Let go of the stress, let go of the fear, let go of the anxiety, let go of the added pressure you put on yourself to be perfect, let go of, unrealistic expectations, whatever it is. Release it and let it go. And this is the process that we follow, birthed out of my experience of having come through as a cancer survivor. Feel the feeling, whatever it is. Allow yourself to feel it so that you can face it. Give it some excavation, give it some prayer, give it some meditation, give it some insight, give it a therapist perspective. Whatever you need to do, you face it so that you can focus on it. And in that focus, that's where you might pull in people like a coach or a therapist or somebody else to help you get an outside perspective and to listen to your inner wisdom as well. You focus on it, then you can trust that whatever it is serving you as a lesson of what to do or what not to do. The direction that you're going is on the right path, or that maybe you need to redirect, and then you can release it. Now you know the process for the release. And now you know the topic for today. So now I've got to introduce you to who's going to share the weight-bearing loads with me this morning. And so today, for help, what I did was I called my sister back. You know her, you love her. Let's give it up for the Reverend Cherie Smith Claiborne.
Good morning, everyone.
Good to see you, sis. Good to see you.
Glad to be here.
So today we're talking about the root of the matter. And what's funny is you claim you don't remember this, but it's so funny to me. It's actually was inspired by a message that you shared. And so I'm glad that we're together to do it. Everybody's saying good morning. I hope you're flooding her with love and hot hellos in the comments. But we're going to get to it. So our scripture today, and get this, we're in day 10, y'all. The scripture for today comes out of Ecclesiastes. And they said, Pastor Riri. It's catching on. My nickname's catching on, Pastor Riri. That's your favorite co-host. Mine too. I love them all, but this is,
Thank you. That's
Coco. And there's Michael. Yep. So here we go, y'all. Ecclesiastes, and the one that I'm going to share first is coming out of the English Standard Version. Thank you, Monique. I'm going to get back to all the hellos in just a second. We're going to get through the scripture real quick. And it reads, "Two are better than one because they have a good reward for their toil. For if they fall, one will lift up his fellow, her. Come on now. But if they fall, one will lift up his or her fellow." Okay. But woe to them who is alone when they fall and has not another to lift them up. Again, If two lie together, they keep each other warm. How can one keep warm alone? And though someone might prevail against one who is alone, two will withstand them. A threefold cord is not quickly broken. All right, let's go to the message, because I know you like to look at the message version too sometimes, Reverend Riri, for a little bit of digging in conversationally. It's better to have a partner than to go it alone. Share the work, share the wealth. And if one falls down, the other helps. But if there is no help, boss it out, basically. But let's go down. Okay, two in the bed, you get warm. By yourself, you're unprotected. I like this too. With a friend, you can face the worst. Can you round up a third? Because a three-stranded rope isn't easily snapped. All right, there we are. Okay, so that's the scripture that we're coming from today. Let me tell you all the inspiration. So actually, Reverend Riri was sharing a message, and she mentioned redwood trees, and she was talking about how they're able to stand so tall. And so then I went digging around and looking around and digging around and looking around and digging some more. And what I found was so interesting. And I was saying, I don't know if you heard me, everybody's saying their hellos. I don't know if you heard me that I in my meditation time, this thing kind of took on a whole nother. So we'll see where the conversation goes. Hey, Saval, it's good to see you, brother. Another day of impact. I love that. Come on in here with some stuff. Thank you for scribing, Michael. So in the devotional from which this comes, and everything you all is in the header of the page, the 21-day release action journal and devotional action, because you have to do some stuff. You got to do some work in there. Yeah. We're all about the work. So this is what I share. Whether or not you're into dendrology, which is the study of trees, there's plenty that we can learn from redwood trees. Shout out to my sister friend Cherie for reminding me about their graceful, majestic qualities. The redwood is a native northeastern U.S. and the southwest of Canada. And in many forests, this tree can grow straight and tall, up to 90 feet, some as tall as 140 feet, with a trunk measuring 20 to 40 feet in diameter, being the tallest tree in the forest. It's impressive, but its root system is what I want to focus on. But just so you all can get the sense of what we're talking about, I just wanted to actually pull. I think you all know what a sequoia looks like. I'm pretty sure. So this is what we're talking about. 90 to 140 feet tall. You see them all gathered and living and growing and breathing in the same space. But for those of you who have never seen them, because, I don't take for granted anymore. Some people's level of exposure, is just different. And I respect that. But when you look at look at the trunk of this tree. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people I can see. And they're only around half the tree.
Yeah.
8 people stretched. And, we now know because of COVID that this is 6 feet. You put your hands out to your side. So if you stretch your arms out to the side and it's 6 feet in one person's span, then look at that. You multiply that times 6. You see what I'm saying? It's like you're talking about 42. This is a huge tree, y'all. Mm-hmm. So what in the world would enable a tree that size to be able to stand? That's what we're talking about today. And that's what I got to dig into and got interested in. So there's 3 main types of root systems. There's the heart roots, the tap roots, and the flat roots. These redwood trees develop heart root systems early in their development. Heart roots resemble like our vein and artery system that's in our body that goes to our human heart. Several semi-deep roots of the tree stretch down into the soil, but not as many that should support a 100-foot 40-foot tree. So you might look at that and go, okay, well, they probably have really deep roots. It's not about the deep roots. It's about the more numerous smaller roots that extend off to the side and interlock with one another. In nearby trees, you saw all those trees standing together. They interlock underground with the nearby trees, and they create this branching root system. Once they're connected, those trees can grow in great strength, stamina, and longevity. And I asked the question, imagine how much more women of faith, and for my fellas in the room, any of us, imagine how much more we could accomplish in the world if we would lock together in purpose at the root level? How much stronger would we be if, like those majestic trees, we grabbed onto each other in tough times instead of trying to hide our mistakes or missteps? What if we created a network for healing rooted in more intimate, heartfelt discussions around the things that we're all dealing with on some level? And then I raise this key, and I want to pitch it to you for this, Reverend Riri. It's about the vulnerability. Let's start with some of the things that keep us from standing in that place. It's about, and we've talked about this, the girl take the help, standing in that place of vulnerability.
I think for a lot of people, it's difficult because they've been hurt before, and past pains, past hurts, when you've given your trust to people, be it family members, friends, co-workers, because it can happen any and everywhere whenever you put yourself out there. Instead of us finding a way to let it go, we hold on to it, and the holding on of it starts to kind of rupture or disrupt the roots that were being built. And so I love that these trees don't have, it's not that you have to be deep rooted, but it's that you are connected. And so it's not that I have to have known you for my whole life, because it's been my experience that God knows just what we need when we need it. And so if we're willing to take the help, if we're willing to be connected in ways and let some things go, even just starting to build upon something, a good foundation, because that's the other thing. these trees have a foundation. Right?
Yeah.
And so I think people, men and women, have, and we talk a lot, of course, this is the women's release, but I've seen it in men too, where, you know, once they're burned, it's kind of like, I'm not letting anybody else in that space again.
Mm-hmm.
We have to be willing to open. I'm not saying give everybody everything on the first day.
Right.
Hello, now let me tell my story. No.
Right.
Right after hello.
I agree with you. I think, and you all, you know what to do. You weigh in, and Neil says, that's me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We get it.
There it is. I often say, but it appears there's a go it alone mentality and a trust issue. Absolutely. Pastor Regina says connections matter. They absolutely do. Yeah. Oh, Michael says hurt people, hurting people, hurt people. The vulnerability. I'm going to share more because I was thinking about content creators. I told you all that it was taking like a different spin for me. And I'm going to tell you, oh, here y'all come. That's me. That's me too. I see you. Yeah. And I understand. Absolutely. Leo Matthews, you better get on up. But to your point, the trust issue is so important. And that speaks to the healing that has to take place. Really, that's what the release stands on and is all about, because the hurts of your past will hinder your progress for the future if we can't get past that. And it's not to say don't learn from what happened, because hey, you burned me once, we're not gonna do it like that again.
Not like that.
We're not doing it like that. Nah. But you have to learn from it and move forward. I talked about being vulnerable and showing our soft underbelly. But like the redwood trees, I said, we need to be willing to lean on one another, understanding that a strong root system supports everyone's success. Because just because you're feeling strong and put together in this season, and this is a great point, doesn't mean that you won't be the one that needs help in the next season.
Yes.
So let me tell you, let me just be transparent. And I know it feels a little disjointed this morning. I mean, we both have had different mornings this morning, and then we're coming in. It's what it is. But y'all are family, so it's what it is. Let me keep it real on something. Even doing this program. So I'm a content creator. Many of you are content creators. Many of you are or small business persons who are having to move your business to a platform online because of COVID. you got to be able to reach people, tell people about your business, share what you're doing, maybe even sell products and services, whatever that is. I'm a strong believer in platform sharing. I just am. I just think that if you can set it up to be a win-win, that it is that that redwood mentality, that a strong network builds people up, and you can get and cover more ground being networked in together than just trying to stand out there and do something and scream on your own. I also like that philosophy because I learn from it. I learn from everybody I talk to. I might not agree with everybody, but I learn from everybody I talk to. So it's about being grounded and rooted. I think sometimes the vulnerability piece comes because we come from a lack mindset, that if I hook up with you, if I network up with you, somehow that's going to take something away from me. And there's can't possibly be enough space and room in the universe for two visions to flourish and bloom and reach people and grow and do whatever it is. That's the mindset. That's the lack mindset. Like, even when you ask people to do stuff, even like doing this, sometimes I wonder, I kind of sometimes get feelings like, oh, why you want to hook up with me? Like, it's like, here's what I hope we all understand. Like, I do this thing with my clients. What's the worst case scenario? Okay, let's hook up. All right, your people start watching me because you come on, you tell your people to come. They start watching me. They like me. They like my page. So what now? They're not going to like you no more. They're not going to follow you anymore. They're not going to go to your church anymore. They're not going to pay their tithes to your church because I did a Facebook Live with you. Like, we got to really look at what does it mean to be connected and what doesn't it mean? If we are in a lack mindset, we won't want to work together because we can't conceive that you can win and I can win.
Yes, right. Yes. That's that mindset of scarcity. There's not enough to go around. And that people are bigger, but I think that speaks more to who we are and what we're going through and what we've been exposed to. Yeah. So if you don't know any people who are working at that level, it can be hard. If everything you feel has always been taken from you, if there have always been takers around you, it can be hard to understand or even conceive that there are people who understand the power of connectivity and working together, and how creativity is sparked when we work with one another, because you've never seen that.
Right.
And so that in and of itself sometimes pushes people who would normally want to work with other people to not want to work with people because you're coming from a whole different mindset.
Absolutely.
I'm actually trying to get to the next level and take everybody with me that wants to go.
Absolutely.
Come on, freedom's train. Let's all putting your feet in the ground and I have to pull you along the way, then that makes it really hard to do.
Absolutely. And I like what you said about exposure. Here's the thing. In truth, I've been that person who people have taken pieces of more growing up and through my adult life. People took.
Yeah.
And so if anybody has a reason, right? But what I did was I flipped it and I said, I'm not going to be that person. I'm going to elevate. So I even had somebody inbox me and say, hey, do you think you have people on the show? Like, we do this devotional in the morning. We do the midweek jam at night. You do your thing on Thursday. You put up their website. You put up their pages. You put up their projects. You're doing all this promotion for them. They can, and I'll be honest with you. I have had some people take this stuff that we do because it's highly produced. I'm going to make sure it looks good, that you guys get good production value. And they've broken it down for pieces and parts and distributed it across their sites, and not an attribution, not one shout out, not thanks to, not even a tag, nothing. And they've cut out the parts where I'm in and just used their parts. And I was just like, okay.
Scarcity.
But I shall not stop collaborating. I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing because some of that is happening. So what am I saying to you all? Don't be afraid to do this. There will be people that will try to shark you out. They just will. But what this doesn't mean is, don't you break up pieces of your dream and try to sell them to people for buy-in because you feel like you can't do it alone. Because that's another thing I had to overcome. Sheree. I had to overcome that. God gave me this vision. I don't know if I can do it by myself. So I'm going to try to make other people be as invested as I am. When God gave it to me, he didn't give it to them. And they may care about it and they may like it and they may, want to be involved in something, but they're never going to have the same isness about it as you do because it was given to you. So often the other flip is in our trying to network and get that root system going, we try to break off pieces of our dream and give it to other people and hold them to a high level of accountability and responsibility as it's theirs, and it's not theirs. So don't do that either.
Yeah. And it can be it's like a tightrope walk sometimes. And I think what I've learned about it is that people will do that. But then we have, just like you made a decision not to be that person, we get to make a decision, well, maybe we don't need to work together at that level again if there's no integrity, because that's really an integrity issue.
Absolutely.
Especially once you reach a certain level of professionalism, we know that we're supposed to give credit to people. And crediting someone is not taking anything from us, correct?
Right.
So I love to be able to say, yeah, my sister does X, Y, Z. My sister does this. But it's always amazing to me because I hope when people know better, they do better.
Yeah.
But it still amazes me how much people just don't want to, basic credit, from sermons,
right,
to written works, to art, to technology, to simply say, I got this from my sister, or I heard my sister say, and to drop her name.
Yeah. Hey, Pastor Chris, what's up? Good to see you. Good to see you. Thanks for popping in. Their heart's not in it. It's yours. Right. Exactly. And so, I mean, because I know that when you brought up the very point that we have to watch. And that's why I want us to talk about it from the standpoint of what it is and what it isn't. I thought about that this morning. Networking, building that root system, what it is about a healthy relationship and networking. Healthy.
Which should be our goal in all relationships. We want to have healthy relationships. And when they're not healthy, that means some type of work needs to be done, usually on both parts.
Absolutely. And it forces you to stay cognizant and aware of what the dynamics really are. Not what you wish they were, but what are they fully. Now, saying that, I don't want to villainize everyone who, you get into something and maybe you thought, yeah, this is, and then you think, oh, maybe this isn't the direction I need to go, because that can happen too. But I always think that you said lead with integrity, and that's the key. Integrity has to lead, even how you come out of something. Right? So if you post something you overlooked, you say, oh man, I didn't give attribution. You can fix that. You can go back right into your post, edit it, and put somebody's name or tag them. You can because listen, we messed up. We're humans. We do it.
I'm so human.
Hunty.
Be clear. I'm so human. Now we started by talking about vulnerability.
Yeah.
And just that whole part of why we have trouble with vulnerability is because it literally means you're now susceptible to harm and attack. It is the opening of oneself in a way that allows walls to come down. And that all by itself is a hard thing to do, because who really wants to be open to attack? So sometimes we stay attached to the things. We don't trust ourselves. That's it.
Right. Yeah.
We don't trust ourselves to see an attack coming, or even once one comes, to then be able to put the wall up or to push stop on certain things. And so going back to the root of the matter, like, where does that come from?
Right.
And it's important for all of us to, when we see these things, start digging.
Yeah.
Those roots. What have I been deeply connected to, or not so deeply, but I have all of these connections.
Yes.
Right. And they're all pulling me this way instead of this way.
Right.
Looking at those things.
That's great, because if we stay with that analogy of that redwood, like they can't survive leaning. They're too tall, they're too big, they're too heavy. They can't survive leaning. They've got to stand upright. So if the relationships around you and the network that you're building isn't helping you stand firmly in your place, not pulling you to their place, but standing firmly in your place, that is a key that something ain't right. I'm going to come back. You guys have got great comments, and I want to make sure we get back in. Thank you, Tamara. I'm so glad that this 21-day release is offering that check. That's what it's all about. I found there's not a lot of like-minded people out there and has the same intent of being in a healthy relationship, business or otherwise. That's why prayer is key.
Yeah, and I would be interested to know from you, Neil, like if this is what you found, could it be where you're looking? Could it be the circles that you're running in that maybe there are these other people out there and there are a lot of them, they're just not in your circle for some reason.
And the expectations that you put on what you want people to be versus seeing them for who they really are and how they really are.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that.
Thank you. We all just need to shout out. Positive word of mouth is one of the best forms of advertising. Absolutely. You want people to know, trust, and like you, and you want to build a reputation based on that. And not just all aimed at your stuff, but listen, I go back through every single comment when we get off of this thing. And you will notice I'll like, because I want you to know I've seen it. Then I'll go to your page and see what you about, what you doing. And I'll like that, and I'll check your stuff and like your stuff, because it is a yin and yang of give and take. Savala says, wise enough to know the difference between an assignment versus appointment. That's it, bro. Parasite, a person who wants to be in your hand, versus a protege, a person who wants what's in your heart. That's well said. Well said. That's it right there. That's it right there. And understanding too that the seasons that are attached to those things, and season is built into assignment, right? Because once an assignment in, you get another assignment, and the seasons of those things are so important too. Thank you, Savalas. Good morning, Sharon. Thanks. I'm glad you're in. You're going to stop getting me this morning. Ain't nobody hitting you. We're just helping you. You said these help you, so let us help you. Yeah, absolutely. So what is
going back? I'm sorry to what's his name? Savalas.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have it up. That I think part of it is we get caught in the parasite piece. Nobody wants a leech, right? Nobody wants someone who's just coming to suck and take from them. But we can get so caught up in that we miss the right people because we're trying to keep the parasites out. At some point, we have to be willing to grow. And I'm not saying, Brother Savalas, what you said just triggered this in me. But at some point, we have to trust that through prayer, through our devotions, through the relationships we already have that help to keep us rooted and stable, that when parasites come, it'll be all right. It'll be all right. The people that you are, what did it say, a 3-strand cord, locking up with a friend. And there comes to that too. The root of the matter is, can we listen to other people? Can we trust the people around us to point out some things and say, do you think that person's in it for this? Keep your eyes open. I may see something different. But trusting those who've already been connected to you to help you, and even your own sense of discernment.
And I would offer that even some of those parasite situations I've been in, I've learned.
Yes.
I have
learned something.
I have learned. And I don't mean just about the parasitical situation. I mean, I actually learned something from them. I got something from them. Yeah. I learned something having worked in that situation, scenario, or assignment that I would not have learned otherwise. And so I'll take that. That's valuable. I'll take that. And then on top of that, I learned about the dynamic of relationships, business, personal, those kinds of things. Right. And so I would love us to move into kind of this area now of, in your personal life, Reverend Riri, how have you worked to establish healthy, rooted relationships? Or is it something that you're still, working with?
Oh, that's always for me a work in progress. Because like you said earlier, I believe that in different seasons, certain things shift. Now, I have some friends that I've been friends with since I was young. Not a whole lot of them that I'm still really close to. But even though we don't see each other and talk all the time, it was established in such a way that when we get back together, you know, it's like we weren't apart. And I know if I need that, they're there. I will say it's difficult for me. It's been very difficult to establish. We have moved quite a bit due to calling, due to purpose. And so establishing those kind of connections, because I am an empath, because I am, my sense of discernment is usually heightened. And because I believe in integrity, and I've recently realized that I am somewhat of a perfectionist. I didn't think I was, but I'm learning through my devotion time and talking to some other people. Maybe it is me. Woo! And so
I love it.
I didn't really realize that. I thought I just liked things right. And
Me too, girl. I'm in the same club.
Because I hold myself to such a high standard in certain things, I'm realizing that I do that in friendships too.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to trust, especially when it comes to just certain things like that have to do with integrity. And so I do have some really good girlfriends. I have some sisters, biological sisters, that we've gotten closer. And there's a big age gap. So that too sometimes plays a thing when you're siblings. So for me, some of those things are, I can be a loner because I trust Cherie.
Yeah.
I know who she is, you know. Yes, you're right, Tamara. I see you. It can be a Pisces thing. Yeah, so that's kind of where I am with it. It's something I'm working on.
Yeah.
I do extend myself to people all the time, but I do know that I have a certain wall that comes up, especially when I see certain things, especially when I'm not sure who you connected to. And I'm clear that we are not all the people we're connected to. But when you roll with somebody real tight, and I've seen them do certain things that I know I'm not willing to be vulnerable to accept that, then for me, so I do have some really good girlfriends, and I'm open sometimes to more, but that's a whole process for me.
That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. So you've just kind of taken us into our first question. How would you all rate your support system, your sister's support system, or for my brothers, just your support system? How would you rate your support system? Scale of 1 to 10. Go ahead and knock it out in the comments areas. I'll take some comments while we're waiting. I like being a loner. I give myself the best answers. Do we?
Okay, Neil.
Okay. I mean, that's taking away nothing from our divine wisdom and all of that stuff that works on the inside of us. But that outside perspective, you will never see yourself the way somebody sees you from the outside looking in. Lisa says she gives herself a 9 on her support. So that's awesome, girl. You are flowing in the overflow. Tamara says about a 7. Pastor Angie, Reverend Angie says,
I like that, Reverend Angie.
Yeah, girl. 8. Okay, an 8. And Lisa said, but I don't always reach out to them. Okay, so that's the other thing about the root system, though, is the roots don't just hold on to each other to stand up. The roots have to nourish each other. Your support system is 100%. That's awesome to know. You better come on. That's great. That's what we want for you. That's what we want for all women. Regina, I see you, a 9. Okay. Sharon, an 8. Y'all are ranked kind of high. Neil, y'all, Savalas, what? Come on, brothers, don't get quiet now. But the adage about, you know, it takes a village to do this and that. I mean, but the thought process behind, and the philosophy behind the village is that everybody's nurturing and contributing at one point or another, so that no one person, right, has to bear all the weight. But how it stands with this topic is in a root system, right? That's great, Regina. I'm glad you've got great friends. In a root system, you have to nourish each other. It's in the village, it's more like you take the baby, you hold on to him, and okay, now this time you take the baby. Okay, now I'm going to do it. In a root system, you all are holding on to each other.
It flows both ways.
Yes.
When we look at root systems, it's not just what they give you, give them.
Absolutely.
In different seasons and different times.
Absolutely. And even if you study, again, dendrology, if you want to go into, I mean, look into redwoods. I'm telling you, it's fascinating. What happens to a piece of a root that gets damaged and how it develops things around it, almost like how the human body develops a scab, and just go back and look at how they compensate and how they still manage to hold each other together and compensate for those different things. That's a great part about being intertwined and having a support system. If you take a hit, because life is going to show up with something at some point, if you take a hit, that you've got that support system in place, that you're not Girl, it just kicked me out. What? You will not shut me down.
You got a system.
We got a system. Miss Shirley said, once I opened up, I realized my support system is strong. Being honest is about 8.5. You know what I love about that, Cherie?
Once I opened up.
That part.
Yes. Because we can close ourselves off to where we can't see that you really do. I should say we really do have more of a system of support than what we can see. Let me just also say depression can play a part in that. When there's this cloud hanging over you and you're feeling a certain way, it can make something look like what it really isn't.
Yeah.
And being mindful of where you are and what you're going through and how it can shade what you see.
How do you know? What are some signs? For you personally, I know you're not a licensed therapist, but what are some signs for you?
For me, basic things when I don't want to connect with people. And I really am a people person, even though I'm good being alone and being a loner sometimes, I like people. And so when I don't want to make connection with people, when I don't want to do the things that I know I really like to do, when I'm not answering phone calls, when I feel a certain way. Depression can be different for everybody. I'm not a licensed therapist, but I've had depression before. And so learning to see those signs, which Janette mentioned earlier, whether it's a therapist, a life coach, you need someone sometimes who's out of your support system and circle, which they become part of your support system, but sometimes it's easier to hear things from people who are not in the things with you.
Right. Absolutely. Neil says, I saw sisters and I thought it was exclusive about a five. Yeah, I told you, you all are respectful and you engage in a way that is edifying. So we let you play. Told you I was a loner. So there's a reason. Okay. Well, that will, the screen froze. Okay. Well, we're back. That was me. I had a problem. Nothing but the devil. All right, y'all. Y'all better pray down some stuff. Technology.
Oh, that was like, oh,
when I snapped out, they're like, "Ooh, the devil." Okay, honesty is the key for a good support system. Absolutely, agreement. Depression has been harder. And there's so many levels to depression.
Yes,
so many levels. So we asked you all how you would rate your support system. Now, in that, just go along with it. In one word, how would you describe it? You rated it a 9, you rated it a 10, but now I want you to think about your support system and ask yourself this question and then give it a descriptor. Is it one-sided? Have you been the person that all the support rallies around you? You're the center of the support person. Or are you in a win-win support system where now I know, Lisa, you said I don't check on everybody like I should. So there's some admittance, we all aren't the best at different times, and that will ebb and flow because life happens and you can't be, if you've been a 10 and then all of a sudden stuff happens. But just consistently, is it something you're intentional about? That's what I'm trying to get to. Is it something you're intentional about? Do you think about the people around you? Do you think about the support system that you have? Do you think about the people that keep reaching out to you, but you never reach back to them? Or they keep trying to reach for you, but you know, for whatever reason, you push back. What is that? We have to look at what that is. And if you have a strong support system, but you haven't been feeding into the system, you can't be thrown or upset or disappointed if one day the support system seems to wane some because you haven't put into the pot, so to speak.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that people will leave you. They may not want to leave you, but they just may not have it anymore because they've been the one pouring. Depression has been harder to fight than breast cancer, but I'm winning. Amen. That's it. Because you keep fighting. You keep fighting. The goal here, y'all, is not to out where you are in your relationships or to bring exposure to something that maybe you're not comfortable talking about, but it really is about helping you think about these things so you will put intention, effort, and prayer into developing that. But listen, we are about to have to figure out how to come out of this pandemic lockdown. And even in the lockdown, we have learned so much about ourselves and so much about our support systems. Reverend Riri, her father just went home to be with the Lord within a month. And I'm sure the support system that you found in that time was different than maybe the support system that you had. But those are the things that we learn about, right? Through the things that happen to us in life.
Absolutely. Which is why I love when you say, I think we both say it, it's okay to feel what you're feeling. But then what are you going to do with that once you feel it?
Yes.
And so even when, and that's really where, in thinking about today, where my mind kind of went is the root of the matter. I started thinking about my dad and that whole process. He had been sick for years now, where he was still, I mean, he was a fighter and kind of was up and moving more than what anyone expected based on what he had. And so when we got the diagnosis, maybe 3-4 years ago, I think for me, I wanted to get to the root of the matter then. And for me, that was grief.
Yeah.
Clear, because when they gave us the diagnosis, of course, my sisters and I, we went and we looked at what's the prognosis? What is this? Is this, you know, is there a cure? What's going on? And once we saw that there wasn't, of course, we continued to pray and we did what we could. But the root of the matter for me was that my dad was going to die one day, which we all will, but it was up close, personal, in my face. And so I knew I had seen grief in my family on his side of the family that was completely unhealthy. Yeah. And I did not want to live that. When my dad's sister died of breast cancer, I remember he didn't say her name for years. We couldn't talk about her. The family didn't talk. It just became not good. And I didn't want that. So for me, I had to start figuring out ways to handle grief. And for me, so when I started thinking at the root of the matter, it for me is whatever you're dealing with, you got to get to the root of that. And part of the root is you can't do it. There's very little we can do by ourselves. And so it was all of those things that kind of came to life for me. I had to be intentional. I had to put effort toward, how do I want to go through this?
Yes, yes.
And I can't determine when he'll die or even how that will happen. I had to make an effort to still take care of me, learn and grow, as well as taking care of my family and those who were close to us that were going through that at that level. And so that required a lot of prayer. I love that. Have to put in intention, effort, and prayer into the system. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And Tamara says, I'm the one that's always pouring. We'll come back to
you're always pouring, Tamara. You don't have to answer that on here, but I think it's worth looking at. Anytime we're always the one either receiving, pouring, or always doing anything, it's important that we look at why. Because if it's always us, that means we keep pouring. And so if those same people aren't pouring into us at some level, they may not have the ability to pour at the same level you pour. But if they're not pouring anything, why is that the case?
Hey, get some highs in here. Hey, Dina D, good to see you. Yep, amen. Monique sending you love. I see you, Michael. You think your support. I'm glad to see you. Good, Lydia. Good to see you.
Right on time.
I think our support system is half and half. I want to take the last little 15 minutes that we have and take some questions. I will share with you all the work it out exercise is to write out a meditation that will help you manifest the divine support system you desire. And writing out your meditation, it's going to require the intention part. What effort are you willing to put into it? And the prayer. What is it that you need? What are you willing to give? Don't make it all one-sided. What are you willing to give? How are you willing to be in a root level connected network support system? One of the things we talk about, things that hinder, I realized going through, we do life classes together. We do women's release experience together. And one of the things that I realized helping other people work out is that when I must have been around 11 or 12, my father was in the Air Force, so we lived on a military base. And so the houses were close together. One of my friends across the street was having a garage sale. This was a new concept for me. And I was like, wow, you mean stuff that I don't want anymore? I can go get money for it? This is cool. You're 11, 12, whatever. So we gathered up all of our stuff. We had it in her driveway. And I can't remember all the pieces of it, the details of it, but the lasting impression was she put less value on my things than she put on her things. And she was older. She was like 15, 16. Then she put on my things. And so there were things that, I wanted to sell, but I still may have had some attachment to. So I was watching things go for pennies and cents and things, and heard things go for dollars and something in that engagement deposited something in me about the worth of what I give, or the worth of what I have to give. And maybe I'm overvaluing what I have versus how other people see what I have. I didn't even realize that was there. I had no clue, not a one, until we started working on some other stuff. Now, I went through life and it showed up in different ways. So when I was in news and I'm before people all the time, I felt like even though I was working my butt off, blood, sweat, and tears, I had to work harder because I wasn't sure that the value of what I was giving. And I had to go to every, event that every person asked me to, because I wanted to make sure that I was giving the value. When I got into ministry, oh Lord, little boundaries a lot of times in ministries, right? And so you have to give. Is this good enough? Is this good enough? Is this? And then finally, I got it. Like, no. And the fact that I felt that way about what I was offering gave other people the perceived right to believe that must be true, that you have more to give. Like this is, and without knowing what it cost me. But clearly, if this is, you don't think this is enough, then where's your more? You bring your more. And so even in that had caused me to be careful about my networks and or form unhealthy networks, because then it was always about me trying to make sure you got enough, 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 you got enough. But now we're in a space and place, folks. Take the time, the gift of time that COVID is giving us, in not the disease, but the time based on the quarantine and shelter at home play. Take the time to do that level of self-excavation and ask yourself, why am I thinking about that? Why does it make me feel like that? And then you will find too that there might be some deeply rooted things. I already feel and appreciate this message coming through it. Thankful for that. You're worth more than gold. I appreciate Donna, your friend. Oh, you too, Dina D.
So are you, Dina.
That's right.
And I think that's the thing. And I so appreciate.
Pesos, mommy.
We all have to see our worth. And at the point where we can't, we have to go back and look at the root cause. I love that you didn't realize that, but look how far back you can trace that.
Yes.
And then after you found that root, you can look along the way and see how that's contributed to, what you found. And so I think that's so wonderful. We can never, so many times we've been taught to sweep things under the rug. Sweep it up. It doesn't go away. It's still there. It's still there.
Yeah. You all have any questions, or there any other insights that you want to add? Because my hope is that this is just a small piece of what we do in the women's release experience. This is just a small, like, we dig into it. Lisa knows. Lisa's been there. She's done the work. She knows. Revisit and check it. Absolutely. And for those of you, let me go ahead and share now, because I had to technical things and stuff going on this morning. I know you all are familiar with my Riri, but I wanted to share because she comes on. Go ahead, Lydia. I'll send the link so you can ask the question. Hold on real quick. I hope you're watching on my page, because they're telling me if you're not on my pages, if you're watching from somebody else's pages, the link won't show up. But if you don't see a link come right now, I just put the link out. If you don't see it, go to my personal page and take a look at it. A lot to feast on. This is good. Yes. You all know her, Reverend Riri. I told you she's the first lady of the church that I attend, my home church, but she's also my partner in mission through the women's release experience. And so I just wanted to brag on her a little bit.
Uh-oh.
She's like, what? What's we doing? What's we doing? Yeah, because she is a regular contributor to this publication, the Christian Recorder, which is the official publication of the AME Church, the AME denominational church. So there's her article that she did there. Joy comes in the morning. So she's a regular contributor there. She also, as I mentioned to you before, is a fabulous facilitator of a life class in our church, which is based on the word, positive psychology, the things that I've come through in coaching. And she's always been so gracious that we can intertwine and use those things. But the work that I get excited about that we do together is the women's release experience. And that's when we take women through what you're getting, like, but on steroids. And you can see our California retreat there. And then just some other stuff that we've done. The retreat is a 3-day retreat, but we also do the women's experience, the party. And so that's fun. We enjoy doing that as well. So just wanted to let you all know, all these URLs, all the websites are in the heading. So if you're interested in learning and digging more, because listen, there's some stuff that we're just not going to do, we're not going to get to in this hour. It's just not going to happen in this hour, but we will love to work it out with you. Okay, I see Lydia's in. Hey, Lydia.
Hey, Lydia.
I'm trying to unmute your mic.
Also seeing it.
Hi.
There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, okay. We can hear you.
Perfect. So my question is on setting and resetting boundaries and values. So let's say you've been accepting something for, accepting things for too long, and now you're deciding you want to set these boundaries. How do you then revisit those friendships and relationships and place those boundaries going forward when you've already accepted a lower value or less from others?
Well, I can tell you what I tell my clients is it's always perfectly acceptable to press pause and redirect. It's always acceptable to press pause and redirect. And I say that because if you find yourself, let's go to the extreme. You find yourself in a situation now that's causing you hurt, harm, and danger. You don't have this large arc of time to, well, let me think about it. What if I do this? I don't want to hurt their feelings. What if it is? You got to get out, right? That's the extreme. But sometimes we don't take that as seriously if we're not being physically harmed, when it's emotional wounds. So you're in a situation or circumstance where people have been taking, and they're chipping away at you. And we don't even know all the pieces they're chipping away. It could be your self-respect. It could be just how you feel about yourself, your self-worth, your self-value, the love you have for yourself, your love or respect that you have for them. you know, you just don't know the full weight of what's happening. So you have to be able to push pause, step back, and say, this isn't working for me. I just need a little time. And then when you take that time away, you can better assess, what is it that I'm feeling? Is it that they're expecting too much? Or are they taking? And it sounds like you've done some reflection on this already. I hope you heard the crux of what I was saying, which is really, it's you asked, how do you, when this has been going on? And I'm saying, interrupt the pattern. Interrupt the pattern, push pause, step back, assess what's going on so that you can address it intelligently, because you've gone through it, not just your feelings, not from just the place of your feelings, but you can actually see what is happening, how's this impacting me, and how this has to change. The change may be you never go back to have a conversation. That might be the answer. Or the change may be we have to have a dialogue about this. Sheree?
And I think it is important, though, to sometimes when we acknowledge how we feel and what it's doing to us, as opposed to saying, you're doing this, you're not participating in this, you. Well, this is how I feel. And this is how this is affecting me. And I want us to continue to have a certain kind of relationship, but I need us to talk about this. This is what I need. And then we have to, on the other side, be willing to hear what they need, because maybe they're dissatisfied as well. Because I know there are people who stay in relationships both dissatisfied, but they don't have the conversation. And so you're thinking it's just you, and they're feeling like they're the ones doing the pouring. And so part of it has to be that you're willing to really have a conversation and do some work around it. And both people really, need to do that. But that doesn't stop. Even if they don't want to, you still need to bring it up for you.
Yeah. And I love Jay's quote. Thanks for chiming in from Periscope, Jay, to get some objectivity. Kind of piggybacking on what you're saying. You do want to understand where the other person is coming from, because sometimes it's unintentional. It is unintentional, but that's something that you can only weigh once you step back and you can get a macro level perspective. Because when you're in it, it's just too hard to see all the pieces, and so.
Right.
I still see you. I'm sure she's coming right back.
Okay.
Is this helping you? I think
yes, this is very helpful. Thank
you. I know sometimes it's difficult when we're only catching, a question, but not the whole situation. So I want to make sure that you're getting what we're saying. I see you, Sister.
Yeah.
Hey,
eyes back.
Thank you.
Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
Thank you for your question, Lydia. Bye-bye. Hello, Evangelist. See you've been and continue to be a blessing. Oh, we love you. You know that. We love you. I have an email I forwarded to you from her. She needs you to see. The life classes that were taught at Bethel made a major impact in your life. That's awesome.
And I hope you all know that, and we're grateful that we're making the impact, but you all are making an impact in our lives as well. Because we're putting the work in, trying to do the work. And as you all respond and have this dialogue with us, it helps us expand ourselves as well.
Absolutely. Thank you for always sharing wisdom on this beautiful platform. Both of you are awesome. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. You're awesome too. Yeah, you should follow him.
Talking about the redwoods, what I love when I was, because I, had to go back through that this morning, that they actually flourish in fires. And part of it has to do with the connectivity underground.
That underroot system.
Yeah. At the top, when they're going through these difficult fires, that's when their seeds come out.
Wow.
That's when they're able to, spill what they have for the earth. And so that for me is a reminder that when we have good, healthy connections at root levels, that we can stand the fires that come in life.
All you preachers, we get it first. Even through the fire, there's burn something out the
fire. I'm gonna be all right. Yes.
Yes. I love it. Well, if there aren't any more questions, nobody else questions. I love this question thing. I think we might go to that, and y'all can be at ease, knowing that you can come on. You don't have to engage your camera. You can just use your audio and ask a question, because that's the first thing everybody's going like, oh, Lord. But you have to know that you can ask now and not be seen. This has been a conversation about the root of the matter. We've been coming out of the devotional, the 21-day Release Action Journal and devotional. All the links are there. You see the links to the books there too. Both of us are available to you if you are interested in doing more work through the release party, which is one of my favorite things to do, because I just love, and I know you do too, we just love working with women. We love it. When women break free, man, oh man, when women break free, there's something about it. Pastor Sheree is preaching.
Thank you, sir. It's something about, okay, I'm the youngest of 4. And the sister right above me is a little over 8 years older. So I really had it's 8 years, then 12 years, then 15 years older than me. So I tried my best to learn from watching. And that is something else that we get to do. While we have to have skin in the game when we're doing this work, it's when who makes herself some of the on and hear stories and learn what out of this for me, that I can. That's what this devotional is all about.
It's hitching. It's pausing and pop locking. Reverend Riri,
I'm here.
Okay, I'm sorry. Say it again. We got the part where you said being the youngest, that you really tried to learn from what others did, so you didn't have to do it. And then the next part, your lesson was
just that in the 21-day devotional. That's what this is about. So some of it we do on our own, but then we come here together so that we can hear different perspectives, different things that kind of give the aha moment of, you don't have to go through that way. Like, you don't always have to skin your knee. Some things you do, but on other things you don't have to. You don't have to. That does not work, or this does work. When I connect at certain levels in healthy ways, it helps.
Thank you. And thank you, my sister, for being a part of the discussion today. All right. Don't jump out of the green room. I'm going to be right back with you, okay, as I sign off. Y'all, thank you so much. We had technical issues out the wazoo. She's pop locking. I'm just popped all the way out like somebody just ejected me, but you were hanging tough. So we just appreciate you so much. As always, I want you to remember that I am here for you. The reason that I do this is not just so I can sit up here and hear myself talk, but it's because I love you, and I have a call to empower, inspire, encourage, and entertain people and inform people in original ways. And that's my mission statement. I'm not fully who I am if I'm not doing that. And the pouring out and the sharing and exposing you all to other great minds, that's what it's all about. But if you need to drill down into this deeper, that's where we have to go offline, and we have to take it offline. And I am a coach, and I can help. So thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your support. Thank you for coming in and engaging and sharing these formats so that we bring all the hearts and minds that we can in our communities together so that we can actually make a difference. That's how you make a difference, from your kitchen, from your, couch. You can help change the world, and you're doing it every time y'all show up with everything you have out of your hearts here. And I am so appreciated. I love you all to life.
Thanks so much for joining me on this journey to help empower your mind, your body, and your spirit. I hope you've enjoyed our time together as much as I have. Make sure you stay connected. Become part of the tribe, the inner circle. Text the word release to 22999 and get all the updates on events and happenings and pop-ups that I do. Let's grow this community. Bring more hearts and minds into the room. Share the streams. Join our tribe, our Facebook group, and support through products and services that'll help you continue to make better decisions for better living. Like this resource, From Dream to Reality, Navigating the Path to Your Life Purpose. This top-selling action journal has helped thousands of people find and follow their purpose. You can get it on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. The link is in the post. The Empowerment Tribe is about empowering one another. So follow me on social media so I can follow you back and see what you're up to. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Periscope. Thanks again for tuning in. We are the Empowerment Tribe. Together, we are light bearers in the world. Love you to life. See you next time.